Even as you watch this video right now, you are shifting through different parallel realities and you may not even know it. Now that's sort of the paradox of making this video, is you already do this naturally, but you may not believe that there is as much flexibility as there is for you to really create your dream reality. Scratch that, you don't even have to create it. It's about resonating with it. And these are some of the most powerful things I've learned that have helped me create the life that I have, which includes that of the abundance that I have on YouTube, the subscribers, to be able to travel the world, do what I love. The abundance is a direct reflection of my ability and understanding of parallel realities. Now, I did not talk about this for a long time because actually I read a book years ago that I shared a lot on my channel, and then I was told that I was not allowed to share the video or the book. I wasn't allowed to share videos on this book, so I kind of stopped talking about it for a while. However, I'm not going to talk about that specific book, but I am going to talk about parallel realities in general because it is something that has completely shifted my perception of the world. It has allowed me to create my dream life. I have literally got messages from I've got messages on Instagram from people that watch my YouTube videos, some of which have said they become millionaires because of the content I've shared about parallel realities. So no longer am I going to be held back from sharing this kind of information. I'm not worried about it, about sharing ideas from a book and then saying you can't talk about this because maybe it makes my channel look like an authority on that book or something. I don't even know what it was, but we're going to put all that to the side. That's a parallel reality for another day. But nonetheless, let's get right into it. Now, first off, when I became aware of this, I had an experience back in 2000 and probably 9 or 10 where I had an experience where I literally believed that I died. Now, I know that sounds kind of out there, but what happened was I was driving on that of a street going to my old job where I worked, which is Nordstrom Rack at the time. And as I was turning into the left lane, I was then driving along this shoulder where there was this big median, like this big wall median. And there was this semi truck that was merging into my lane. And what happened is as it was merging into my lane, I became aware that there was nowhere for me to go. There was a car in front of me, and then there were cars behind me. And in that moment, there was like this bracing that I had where I realized there was nowhere for me to go to escape. And then all of a sudden what happened is there was a jolt, and then there was a realization that I was like 30 feet behind this semi truck. And it was this moment where I knew something had shifted. And it was something I was never really able to explain, but I'm just kind of explaining one thing that happened back in the day that when I became aware of this information on parallel realities, it's why I felt such a calling to it. But nonetheless, what I believe happened, or what happened from like a spiritual perspective, is there was literally like a version of me where I was going to die. I had a jolt of energy, and then I was behind that of the car, of the semi-truck. I remember years later asking Bashar about this in a reading, actually, and he said that you actually died, but you shifted to a reality where you hadn't died because it wasn't your time yet. So it's almost like there's a parallel reality of that where I actually just died, which I thought was very interesting. But nonetheless, when it comes to parallel realities, when I started to learn about this concept, it was life-changing. And it was something that helped me understand more a couple ideas that never really resonated with me when it came to that of manifestation in general. But one of the most powerful and most important things to understand about parallel reality manifestation, whatever you want to call it, is that the reality you want to experience already exists. Now, just as that of a television station. Like imagine you have that of a television. Now you know that if you were to tune right now to station 7 or station 5 or station 3, they all exist at the same moment. Now the difference from which channel you tune to will depend upon what frequency you are tuned to. So yes, channel 7, 5, and 3 exist at the same moment. If you tune energetically to 7, You will only perceive of number 7. Now, at the same time, 5 and 3 exist. Now, in the same way, the reality that you want to experience already exists. It's just tuned to a different frequency. Now, you could call this parallel reality. You could call it the quantum field. You could call that the alternative space. You could give any name to this field of energy that we exist in, but the degree to which you experience the reality you want depends upon your energetic resonance. Now, the reason I find this more powerful than manifestation is manifestation comes with the belief that you need to create something that does not already exist. You need to put in energy, and I'm not saying that part of the frequency of you resonating with your dream reality isn't taking action, because I believe that it is. And I believe that when you love what you do, you don't mind taking the action so much. But what I'm saying is, what if there's a better way than manifestation? It's like I'm going to think about it, I'm going to desire it, and I want it. And one of the important factors of understanding parallel reality manifestation too is that wanting is a different reality than having or being. I want, I want, I want. Think about the frequency of I want. If you want, then it also means you lack. Now, just like a television set, all channels exist now. That means there's a version of you that is a millionaire. There's a version of you that is madly in love. There's a version of you that is happily single. There's a version of you. There's many different versions of you that exist. And when you think of it like this, it makes it much easier for you to understand your own awareness of how you are thinking, feeling, and acting. Think of the remote control. How you think, feel, and act is how you are using the remote of your life to tune to different frequencies that already exist. Now, the way that I used this back in 2017 was I literally felt like I received an idea, a download, whatever spiritual name you want to give it, to make daily videos on YouTube. And that if I made daily videos on YouTube, my life would transform. I felt like it was a connection to a future higher self version of me that said, if you make a video a day on YouTube, your life will transform. So I committed thinking, feeling, and acting equal to being a YouTuber when I had a 9-to-5 job selling women's shoes. And within 6 months, I was full-time on YouTube. Could have been shorter, but I didn't understand what I know now. But the reason I am sharing this is because it helps you understand that this is why imagination is also so powerful. Think of imagination as your connection to these different parallel realities, or you could call it the quantum field, or you could call it the alternative space. Think of your imagination in the teachings of Neville Goddard, Joe Dispenza. Imagination is your bridge to the divine. It's your bridge to these different parallel reality versions of you. So what you do is you imagine how you would think, feel, and act in these different realities, and then you model using the remote control of your frequency of who you are choosing to be. And what you end up then doing is you end up tuning your frequency to where you no longer get the static of old realities. Now, for a while of shifting your frequency, you may get static of an old reality. And the key is to trust the process. The key is to understand that as you move through, you will eventually hold the frame of that reality and get a new reflection. Now, that's why in this video, I want to share these 5 things I've learned about shifting through different parallel realities, the thing that we naturally do, whether we realize it or not. Now, if you were to think of it like that of video editing, I don't edit my own videos, but imagine, not to say that as a brag or anything. I'm just saying that when it comes to editing, what I remember from editing is if you were to imagine a film strip, this is a Bashar analogy, but a film strip, and you were to take and look at all the editing of everything, and you were to see all these different frames of reality, it looks like one fluid movement. And what happens is if you were to stretch it out, you would see these different still frames. They all exist at the same moment, but what happens is when it comes to creating your dream reality, what you want to focus on is the what and the why, not the how. Because the energetic frequency of the reality you want is about knowing that what you attract is the almost like the channel that you are tuning to, and the why is a very powerful thing that has to do with meaning, which I'll talk about here in a second. But like when I started on YouTube, I had a intention to add value to people. And I feel like because we also exist within a collective consciousness, it's like what you put out is what you get back, because what you do and give to other people is what is given back to you, because those other people are actually other aspects of your own consciousness. We're just dreaming the game of separation right now. So this is also kind of a spiritual perspective. So when we think of this, think of meaning as one of your most powerful keys on that remote. Imagine something happens, and that's something that happens, the meaning you give to that thing, because the meaning is actually neutral, is going to be which parallel reality you shift to. So if you quote unquote lose your job, say two people lose their job, one person loses their job and it reflects back to them, I'm broken, there's something wrong with me, I wasn't good enough. And then they go into a deeper, and they may numb that with alcohol or drugs. They're going to go on a different parallel reality timeline than someone that loses their job and then says, you know what? I didn't even like that job. You know what? This is my sign to go for my passion. This is my sign to start that business or to go to that better job or that better company. They're going to get very different realities. Now, both the realities exist for each other, for themselves. The opposite based on the meaning they give it. So like the person that ends up starting their own business could have gone down the route of the parallel reality version of them, where they drink and they go into a depression. But the cool thing is knowing that the meaning you give to things in your life is the parallel reality you shift to. Now, in a couple minutes, I'm going to share the most powerful insight I've had as of recently that has completely changed my life. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is something that I'm excited to share. I'll probably make more videos on this concept because it's so powerful. But nonetheless, we have to get through a couple more things before we get there. So when it comes to this, understand your meaning, and everything has no built-in meaning other than the meaning you give it. Now, even think of when people say it's hard to let go. It's almost like it's hard to change to a different channel. I keep changing back to my old channel, where you have familiarized a certain channel, a certain way of being for so long that it feels comfortable for you to be at. Now, one of the things to understand is that if it's become familiar, it's probably because there is a fear of the other channels. There is a fear of the unknown. And what you want to become aware of is that maybe sometimes the channel we're tuned to is a familiar channel from the past because it feels familial. So it's almost like, even though you may want love or abundance, maybe that love and abundance is a channel you haven't been on before, so there's fear there. So you find yourself falling back to the old channel. Now, the thing to understand is this really is about stepping into the unknown. When you get into the unknown, that's where all magic happens. That's where you don't continue to create the same thing over and over again out of familiarity, out of wanting to feel safe, and even sometimes toxic energies. So this really is about awareness. Now, one of the main parts of parallel reality shifting that really helped me understand creating my dream reality is that of seeing it as natural for your identity, or what could also be called decreasing the level of importance you give anything. Now, the funny thing is, by the time the ego has a funny way of always wanting more. I remember when I was first getting on YouTube and I got 100,000 subs, that was the goal. That'd be amazing. And then 100,000. And it's like, what about 200? What about 250? What about 400? What about 500? What about 600? It just keeps going up. It doesn't stay happy for long when the effect is on the external reality, when it's on something external than yourself, and it's about the end result, not the process. Now, what I realized is by the time I became the person, I tuned to the frequency of the version of me that had 1 million followers on YouTube, it was natural. It wasn't a big deal. The funny thing is, the more abundance would come, the less attached you were. So when I was talking a minute ago about meaning, realize that when people have trouble letting go of an old reality is because they found so much comfort in meaning in something when actually something is very easy to let go of. Think about it. If you were talking about a parallel reality, which is you're attached to something. Now that thing you're attached to is a neutral thing that you've given meaning to. Now, how hard is it for me to let go of this marker? It's probably pretty easy. I just go like that. I let go of it, it dropped. Now, the thing that makes letting go hard is the meaning and the story that we assign to something. Now, imagine that my grandpa gave me this marker. It was the most special marker he ever had. He gave it to me, and with this marker, I wrote down some of the most important things in my life that helped me go full-time on YouTube on a specific board. I wrote it down, and then there was this song that would play, and I would always play it with this marker. And that this marker was my lucky marker that I kept in my pocket everywhere I went. And in fact, I would meet and have amazing situations when this marker was in my pocket. And there's such a story there. And I also believe that if I were to let go of this lucky marker, that something bad might happen. Well, guess what? Now is it that hard? Do you see how much harder it is to let go of this marker now? If someone was like, I'm going to take that marker from you, I would fight them to the death for this marker. Of course, I'm joking and being sarcastic, but the idea is that the marker, the story that you overlay things is why it's hard to let go. So you may be in a reality, parallel reality, where it's hard to let go of an ex or a toxic relationship. And you say, it's not actually hard. You just go like this. You let go. However, if the story is, I am responsible for how other people feel. This feels so familiar to my childhood dynamics subconsciously. No one thinks that. No one's like, this feels familiar to my childhood dynamics. But the idea is letting go is hard because of the story and the familiar energy of the channel you've been tuning to. It's easy to let go. You just make the choice. But making the choice is what can be hard if you are attached to a story. Now, there is a parallel reality where you are having so much fun. There is a parallel reality where you are in love, where you are abundant, where you are healthy. These parallel realities exist right now. The key is realizing that it will be natural by the time you attain it. So it's not this thing you put on a pedestal. Understand, anything you put on a pedestal, you immediately say, this thing is not equal to my identity. You say that this thing is all the way up here. And remember, anytime anything's all the way up here, it's creating resistance. So it's natural. It's also another way to decrease importance, by the way, is to realize the thing you think is going to bring you happiness is not. I'm not trying to be depressing here. I'm just saying the thing that you think is going to bring you happiness is just a belief you have. So then you make it this external thing that you must achieve, which actually is like a carrot on a stick that you're chasing. You'll never catch it because it's always just a little bit further outside because you'll just keep moving the marker. You'll keep moving the marker. You'll keep moving the marker. There's a different parallel reality where I'm saying the same thing on loop, on loop, on loop, because every possible reality exists right here and now. Now, the thing to understand is, oh, here's the marker. Just kidding. Okay, I'll stop being trippy with you. But understand that everything is natural. You want to see it as natural for your identity and knowing, like, eventually, it's funny, the best my YouTube channel has ever done has been when I was the least attached to outcome and I was just having fun and I had the intention of adding value. Isn't that funny? Isn't it funny? Just kidding. I mean, not really. It is kind of funny though, right? Like we put these things on a pedestal. It'd be amazing. It's neutral. It doesn't actually make you happy. You think it's more about becoming happy in the present moment and enjoying the process, or the process if you're Canadian. Now, the next thing is the permission to be it. Now, this is by far the most powerful manifestation secret I've learned as of recently. It's something I'm going to be putting into my courses. I'm going to be putting into my 21-day challenges. I'm going to be doing a workshop on this in High Vibe Tribe. If you haven't joined High Vibe Tribe yet, you can. It is completely free. It's a free community with over 17,000 people in it. We do guided group meditations. I have a 1,000-hour course in there for free called High Vibe 101. If you want to check it out, you can click the link below and join. But here's the idea. The certainty. When you wake up every day, you can do this in meditation, or you can carry this with you throughout the day in an energy where you just assume, I call it being as if. Now, there's a version of you that is timid, that's like, I'm in reaction to everyone. What does everyone think about me? That's a certain channel that exists. And maybe that channel is like there's a fear of putting yourself out there, a fear of shining, all these different fears. And fear is kind of like the brim that keeps you on the channel that feels familiar, sometimes familiar to childhood. But the thing to understand is you can give yourself permission right now to be the most confident version of you. You can give yourself permission right now to be in a high vibrational state. You can give yourself permission right now to let go of your childhood trauma. You can let go of permission to pretty much be a new version of you every moment. Because here's the thing. Every moment, you are a new you. Every moment's a new moment. Every moment's a new moment. The cells in your body are constantly dying and being reborn. You are a new you. You may create the illusion that you are the old you over and over and over again, but you're choosing to do it. So if you really want to shift to a new you, the key is making the choice to shift to a new you. It's giving yourself permission. Now, I know this sounds so simple, but it really is. Like, I carry myself through my reality now, knowing I am the most confident version of myself. I have seen how this changes the way people respond to me. It's like an energy field. I call this a standing wave. You think of, like, we have these waves of energy that are constantly, is like, are things the particle or the wave? Well, they're both. Now, a standing wave is almost like a standing wave that you are emanating out energetically based on your expectations. Now, it is said that whoever has the strongest frame has the most influence between two people. Now, the thing to understand about this is that you are constantly emanating out your sense of worthiness. You're emanating out how you expect other people to be. You may be emanating out a feeling of lack or a feeling of, I hope people like me. But if you emanate out, I am comfortable with myself, I am confident in myself, I interact with other people in a beautiful way, and you simply start to know yourself more, it's like people respond to you in a very different way. So tuning to the frequency of the most confident you will change the way you show up in the world, and you just keep giving yourself permission to be that version of you. And if something old in reality reflects itself back, you can use that as leverage to reaffirm you are the new you. Because the old you would have surrendered your frame to that. So really, it is just giving yourself permission and the certainty to be a new version of you. You can create the illusion of the old you over and over and over again because it feels familiar, but you're choosing that. So always be choosing. A, B, C, baby. That's all it is. A, B, C. Always be choosing. You're choosing regardless. You just might be choosing your limitations because it feels familiar to be tuned to the channel that already exists of, I am not very abundant. What do you mean, step into the unknown? I am not abundant. What do you mean? I mean, why choose a reality that you don't prefer to exist? And I'm saying, you want to know how far down this rabbit hole I believe this goes? If you were to study Alfred Adlerian psychology, which is all about something called teleology versus etiology. Etiology is that my past equals my present. It's Freud and Carl Jung psychology. To childhood trauma, let's nurture our inner child. Let's heal. I think it can be a very powerful modality, but what teleology is teleology is that the past does not equal the present, which is what Alfred Adler believed. Now, it goes perfectly into parallel realities because every moment you're a new you. Now, what Alfred Adler said is that there are different goals that you have based on past experience, and those subconscious goals keep you trapped in that reality. Very similar to kind of what I'm talking about, which is that we have subconscious goals that once you become aware of, you can then let go of all the pain, let go of all the trauma, let go of all the energy that has happened in the past. Now, you can feel it to heal it. Breathwork can be powerful. I'm not discounting all, basically, the deeper spiritual things you can do. I'm just saying that when it comes to meaning and story, every moment you're a new you, you can change by letting go. You could be a new you right now. You could tune to the future you that exists right now of you being in a loving relationship by loving yourself in that way, but also just emanating a field out of your own confidence, of focusing on you being in your own reality, in your own frame, expecting people to like you and expecting to like other people. Not needing them to like you, but you want the certainty to feel and to be as if you are the current version of you. This is literally the most powerful manifestation process concept I have ever learned. It is how I went full-time on YouTube. It is how I began to really heal and to let go of a lot of the childhood stuff. It is how I show up in a more empowered way and get a completely different response from people in my life. It's how I became a better leader. You can literally just take on the energy of that version of you now. Every moment you're a new you anyways. Every moment you're new you anyways. You know, it used to blow me away. I have this meditation on YouTube that has over 1 million views on it's called This Meditation Will Shift You to a Parallel Reality. And it has hundreds, if not thousands of comments from people saying they've shifted to a different reality from that meditation. And it used to blow me away in the sense that I'd read these comments. I'm like, what? That is awesome. But there's a reason I think part of it is people believe they are shifting to a different reality and then they give themselves permission. They give themselves permission. It's really that simple. We can use a meditation to help us do that. I think meditation is one of the most powerful ways to shift to a different parallel reality. I really believe that because meditation allows you to get into your subconscious mind, to change your energy, to feel it as if it's already happened. But really, it's like a hack to creating and shifting to your parallel reality, which already exists right here. You just have to tune to it through vibrational resonance. So be as if every moment you're a new you, every moment you're a new you, every moment you're a new you. And understand that you can choose to be a new version of you by giving yourself permission and stop waiting for other people to give you permission. In 2017, I was waiting for people to give me permission. Someone to tell me to go for it. Nothing happened until I gave myself permission. You can give yourself permission to let go of childhood stuff. You could let go of negative toxic patterns you might have. You could. But the story and the meaning is the thing that you might hold on to. So understand that in the quantum field right now is a version of you that is the most abundant, loving, fun version of you. You can give yourself permission right now to be it. You can hold the frame using the power of meditation. And if you want a meditation, by the way, to help you do this, I have a 10-minute meditation that you can use daily. It's not on YouTube, but it is in High Vibe 101, a $1,000 course for free that is inside High Vibe Tribe, a free community. You can click the link below to check it out. If you want me to make more parallel reality manifestation videos, let me know. Comment below, and maybe I will. Now, if you want that meditation that will shift you to a parallel reality and to see what I'm talking about and to read the comments to see what's possible, check it out right here at this parallel reality. At a parallel reality near you. There you go. Shift you to a parallel reality. I'm going to share with you some ideas.